Hey everybody, welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of Menopause, Energy, Fiber, high fiber, a lot of fiber, and protein bars. Before I forget, today's the last day for our Fall into Fiber sale. Get 15% off because fiber is protein's BFF. We need tons of protein and you need tons of fiber to go along with it. So get your 30-day supply, that way you don't run out. Okay, I'm going to bring up our guest. I am so excited. The summer, I don't know, time goes by. Hi, everybody. So glad to see you here. You're going to enjoy this conversation, so don't go away. Hi, Violet.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? You're probably still warm in your side of the world. I am rainy, fuzzy, and already like it's fall here in California, in Northern California. How about you?
Yeah, so it's been so rainy. I did my hair this morning and then I walked outside and it went like this, like this, like this, like this. I was like, okay, so I did my hair again, but I'm not going outside until we're done.
Well, you look stunning no matter
Thank
what.
you.
I just went along. Same thing. I took my dog out for a walk and then, but we're talking about being balanced and bold. So I'm going to just have some bold, big hair today. All right.
I
That's how
love,
we're
I
rolling.
love your hair. You know that I love your hair. That's my goal is to have it long again. I miss having it in a bun. I miss having it just in my
Like
ponytail. Like I just
all
miss
this
my long hair.
stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. Cute, Bob. You can never go wrong with that. Well, let me properly introduce you, Violette de Ayala, founder of FemCity. We hit it off because anything that has to do with women, business, empowerment, leadership, wellness in there too. I'm like,
Yeah.
you are my person. So,
Thank you.
oh, and by the way, pretty sure that you are a model, and that's like a whole other adventure. I want to
The
talk
whole
about
thing.
that too. So, super excited to have you. I think we were connected through Dr. Gila. Is that right?
So we're Dr. Jula, we have a mutual contact with her, a mutual friend, but we met initially with Dr. Vonda Wright over at the Menopause convention in Orlando at
Last November.
November. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And everybody will be back again in November of this year,
Yes.
and it's going to be in Orlando at Disney World, part of it. So super excited to see everyone there. She's on a tear with her new
Our
book.
book, it's
Isn't it
amazing.
incredible? I have it right
Yeah.
here. Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Like you can't really see it down here,
By the
but
way, I
anyway.
I love how you all like because I follow her and I follow probably we follow a lot of mutual people and I loved how that community came together and supported her new book and everyone was posting about it and sharing about it. That felt so good for others to see how
Yeah,
women supporting women at all
right.
levels. It's just so powerful and impactful. But I just want to give you extra love and shout out because I saw you promoting her book and so many of my friends. And I just thought that's how we should all be with each other, like celebrating as if it was our book, like just feeling the magic through each other.
Right. I love that you noticed that, not really about me, but more the way this whole community has come
Yeah.
together. First of all, she's brilliant. The
Yeah.
book is
Amazing.
amazing. So
Yeah.
that makes it really easy and important to share. Like you can't not share. But this really ties into what you have built an amazing community with FemCity with 50 chapters in US and Canada. I mean, it's a really big, amazing organization that you've built, and we're going to talk more about that because I know everybody wants to know what is it. But it's about lifting other women up, and
Yeah.
I almost want to like do a rant on Instagram about women lifting other women. That there's no limit. We don't need to be scarce. It's not like one person ever takes away any of the pie from anyone else. And so I really love it when instead of women being critical of other women, they just amplify whatever their own perspective and voice is. We've got to lift each other up. We're getting some hearts on that one. And I know that that's your whole purpose as well. So
Yeah.
there's enough for everybody. We are
Yeah.
limitless. We are, especially
Totally.
not in midlife and menopause, we are not scarce in any way. And instead of, let's take the energy that we might use to kind of minimize or take away from what someone else is saying or perspective, just to amplify your own goodness. And then
Yeah.
it all works out. It all works out. So,
I
okay.
love that. Even with the convention that you and I met at in November with Dr. Vonda Wright, even on that stage, there were so many women that, yeah, you could say they compete in the same world, but the truth is that there's so much space for everyone because everyone has their own vibe, their own energy, the way they share information. And that, just using that stage as an example and the way that you all also supported her in her book, it really amplifies her voice and it amplifies all of our voices. I mean, all
Right.
of us are a part of that. So I feel like if we could do more of that on Instagram, on all of our social media panels, it feels really good as someone on the outside looking in and going, wow, that feels just so beautiful and it makes us all smile. Imagine if all of us did that. If we all just supported, 5 friends today doing little
Right.
things like that, how we could just change the world.
I love that. That's why we were so aligned when we met.
Yes.
It's it's hard enough to be a woman in business. Let's see, Mariana says each of us is unique. Exactly. That's why you can only be you, right? You can't be anybody else. Who I probably ripped that off from Steve Jobs or something like that. But so just be more of you, and then
Yeah.
lift other women up, because especially in this midlife conversation, or as we're going to talk about in business, that people connect with a certain person or brand or personality or mission. And so if we just amplify our own perspectives, then the right people are attracted to that. The right people show up. They engage with what we offer in the world, and we don't need to be worried about um, other people's, minimizing other people. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with
So I
you
yield, I
completely.
yield.
You
Okay,
know what? When we first started FemCity 15, 16, 17 years ago, we had at one of our events, we had the super smart table. We used to call it the super smart table. It was filled of all physicians, and we had dentists there, and we had, and they all competed. Again, if we use that traditional term,
right. In
competed,
the
so we had
same space, yes.
two dermatologists, two plastic surgeons, and two dentists. And every time we'd have them stand up to pitch themselves, they all pitched different things and you
Yes,
felt connected to each other in a different way. And so they
right,
all flourished, they all grew, and they worked together. So
right.
there was never any kind of competition like, oh, you're taking that and that's mine. And it was never, it was always a wealth mindset. There's enough for everyone. And with that mindset, everyone rises to the top.
I love it. Yes, what you said.
Yes,
Ditto,
that's
times
it.
10. Let's
Exclamation
see,
point.
Christine says, and we all have our own stories, even when we have a common denominator. Right,
Yeah,
beautiful. I love that, Christine. It's because it's the common denominator, whether that's menopause or nutrition or business or whatever your jam is, that brings us together. But it's our unique perspective that makes it different for everyone. It's our own
right,
thing. So
right.
I'm loving it. Okay, Fem City. Tell us about FemCity. Great name, by the way.
Thank
Tell us
you.
more and why you decided to create FemCity. That's grown to such a phenomenal organization of women all across the U.S. and Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started FemCity 17 years ago. And really, what happened, it was me going to networking events here in Miami, and they're all great and wonderful. Miami definitely knows how to throw down networking parties and regular parties. I just would come home and I just felt deflated and I felt like I didn't belong. And so for months, I was just constantly looking for a place that felt like home. And then I went to a women's networking event that I paid $100 to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a male speaker, and he was a male dentist. And
What
so
the
I
heck?
I was like, this is a women's networking, and I have friends that are women that are dentists that could have been in that spot. And I got so angry. I was like, this is not okay. This
Right.
is not okay. Especially $100. And I'm like looking at tooth decay and like I don't want to be seeing like
You pay for
gingivitis and
something you really were not that
yeah,
excited with the environment. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And so I was like, that's it. So my first vision for FemCity was just 20 women. We would meet in Miami, we would meet once a month, and we would just support each other. And that was really the idea behind it. Our first event was really, I think, awful. We had no format. We just stared at each other. We were like, okay, this is nice. I always tell people it's like a really bad baby shower. There were no games, there was nothing. We just stared at each other. then the second time I did it, I kind of went overboard and I had two speakers and we all had our pitches and it just exploded. And from that, it just kept on growing. People were kind of wanting to know how to get FemCity in their backyard. And they were asking me, like, who do I contact to start this? And I thought, we're just having lunch together. There's nothing really special about it. Like, you can just do that on your own. I really didn't see the magic of FemCity. I was listening to other people and what they were seeing because Facebook was new at the time and my son had gotten me on Facebook. I was posting all the pictures. Remember how we used to do that? Like when Facebook started, we'd post every picture, like
Everything.
200 pictures. And women were seeing that and they were seeing it was a diverse group of women. There were all types of women there. We were having a great time. And so I launched a second chapter to see if it would work, and it did really well. That was Fort Lauderdale. Then I launched Philadelphia, trying to see if that would work. It did really well. And then we just kept on growing. We had Google reach out to us. They were one of our first partners, and they said, we'd love to teach classes for your members. And so that really got us into the online space. Google taught classes for our members, and then Yelp came over and we're like, hey, we'd love to be a partner and help women get on Yelp and learn how to deal with negative reviews and positive reviews. And so that just amplified the way that we were growing. Then we started growing into the West Coast. And then we launched our scholarship fund. We launched our FemCity Girls program. And it just kind of really, all I did was like listened to what women wanted. And I just created it from the heart.
Wow. Speaking of the heart, international peace revolutionist, I'm guessing is someone you
That's
know.
Regina. Yeah, that's Regina.
Love Fem City. So you've got a super fan here. And then Mariana also says 305, calling out all
Yes,
the Florida
yes.
area. So what I love about what you said, and this is why I love the conversation about being bold and balanced in midlife,
Yeah,
because you started perfectly imperfect. So you said, let
right.
me do this thing, and it was not good.
No, it
And
was awful.
instead, you didn't say, oh, this is terrible. I can't do it. You're like, okay, let's just do it again. Let's do one more and we'll make these changes, which I think really personifies what midlife is that
Yes.
we bring a certain level of knowledge and experience, but then we might step outside our comfort zone and it may not go that well. Like maybe no one shows up on your live or whatever, but you still do them and eventually people come, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the important part of that, and I love that you brought that up, is if you follow your heart-centered pull, when you follow, you know that there's something greater there for you, a stronger purpose. You cannot go wrong because even if
Mm.
you serve one or two people, you've served one or two people. So we think about the numbers have to be this way, or it has to be, the marketing has to be like this. So we get caught up into that. But if we just go back to being grounded and saying, what is our purpose? What is our alignment? How do we want to leave this world a better place? What are the things that I can do to move forward and help others? Then it all falls into place. And yes, it's always going to be a little messy, and you're going to have to redo the website and you're going to have to redo the logo and even our name. It started Femfessionals. I had trademarked Femfessionals and I had trademarked FemCity at the same time. Well, Femfessionals is really hard to spell and it's really hard to say. And so, changing those things also, but that's part of the journey is just embracing that it's always going to be imperfectly perfect. And
Mm.
that just to keep on going as long as it feels in an alignment to the way we want to serve. That's the important part. It'll work out no matter what.
I totally agree. And Christine Ollie Cassie says, yikes, how did I miss that in Philly? Well, it's not too late.
Yes.
Join, go check it out. And since we're talking about it, femcity.com, is that the place to go?
Yeah. Femcity.com.
Femcity.com. And I know what you mean. I mean, we rebranded. Remember, we used to be a different name way back when. But sometimes you see that, oh, okay, we need to go a different direction. You don't go back to zero, same chocolate bar, but in a different wrapper with a different name because that was better as we learned over time and just adjustment. Um, let's see. And Mariana says, you never know until you take action. I love that. So how are you noticing now that you are a menopausal woman and you started FemCity before you were a menopausal woman? How is it different? Are your members different? Are they bolder or less bold? What are you noticing?
I feel like our members have always been around my age bracket. So as I've grown, they've grown. So we've kind of grown together. So I think our demographic is still around 40 plus. We do have members that are in their early 20s and 30s. For the most part, I think they're generally around my age bracket. So it's been really great, especially having the conversations about HRT, having the conversations about just even starting perimenopause and menopause. The conversations are definitely more they're more honest, they're more vulnerable, they're more like, what's working for you, what's working
Mm-hmm.
for me. And so even though FemCity is a business place, where we network and we have business workshops, at the end of the day, it's a place for women to flourish. And so the conversations, I love that we have such great doctors out there. We have great brands like yours that is constantly pushing out information, education. I think that makes it so it's easier for us to have those open discussions about what's working. And so now we talk about, anything, right? We're like, oh, you're doing the pellets, you're doing the patch, you're doing the progesterone. I doubled my progesterone. Like, what's working for you? I find that to be so fascinating, and I'm just so grateful that I have a community that we're all able to talk about those things, and that we have women like you in our community that are creating these platforms for us to continue having the dialogue. It's
Yeah.
really important.
And it's ongoing because even
Ongoing, it
doctors are
never
still
ends.
learning, right? And then
Yeah.
there's perimenopausal women coming in. So how what are you noticing about women who are entrepreneurs as they navigate menopause? I remember when I was perimenopausal and I had a company, a boutique mergers and acquisitions firm, then selling companies. So I'm staring at financial statements all day, doing analysis, and my brain, I was 46, I'll never forget this. My brain just stopped working. I could not keep
Yeah.
it together. And it was so scary. And I'm like, how, I'm trying to do an evaluation on this company and I can't remember this column and that column, even though I'm using Excel. It was a struggle. And so are you noticing in your conversations with your women who have companies, are they struggling in menopause or are they sailing through?
I think we're all struggling because it's an evolution. It's a journey that we're all on. And as you're saying, the information is so new that every day we're learning more and more, and we're thinking of ways that we can cope with the changes that we're going through. I think the one thing is that having those discussions with other women, you're able to see what's working for others and what's working for, what's not working. And also that we're all normal because we feel like we're broken. When those kind of situations happen, we think that there's something wrong with us. I mean, the other
Yeah.
day I couldn't do the New York Times. I did all the New York Times games and I got stuck on one. And I found myself thinking like, oh my gosh, cognitive decline, like here we go. And so, but when I start talking to my friends, they're like, oh yeah, that happens. And so you realize that you are absolutely normal, that these
Yeah.
fluctuations that we have, it's just part of the transition. And there's beauty in there, knowing that you have a community of women around you that are going through the same thing, that you're not alone. I think
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing a lot of.
I love that. And the fact that you brought up community, you've built a community. Yes, you have all these chapters and members, but it's a beautiful community. And community is so important. We know there's
Yeah.
studies that show how important community is as we transition through menopause. So tell us how the chapters work. Do you launch all the chapters or can women start chapters in their cities? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I want to add exclamation points to what you were saying because loneliness is definitely something that we're seeing becoming more and more prevalent, even though we're connected with more digital connections and devices. At the end of the day, like we crave community. There's just something really good about seeing someone eye to eye and just
Right.
having those conversations. So as far as FemCity, yeah, so we have presidents that launch the chapters and they run the programs. Pretty much all the programming is the same in the sense like they're either business workshops or coffee connections or social outings or philanthropic activities. But every city has its own vibe. As an example, we used Philadelphia. It's going to have a different vibe than Miami. That's going to have a different vibe than Nashville or Toronto. So
Yeah.
every city has its own flair, but the uniqueness is really just in the vibe of the local city, but the programming is very consistent. And then on top of that, we have Monday mentorships. We have mentors that come in and they're there on hand for women to come on and ask questions. Sometimes we have health experts, sometimes we have menopause experts, sometimes we have attorneys or CPAs. And then every Wednesday we have a virtual networking. So there's a lot of support. And we added those during the pandemic because we saw
Mm,
women really craving that.
really.
And so we
Yeah. And
thought, well, if you
starting.
can't get to your local event or you're scared to go, I have Hashimoto, so I didn't definitely want to go out.
Mhm.
How do we create community in a space that they can go ahead and access? And so we started adding all of these different resources, came in also our scholarship fund so that we can be there for all women.
That's awesome. I love that. And
Thanks.
so we talked about our promise today was helping women be bold and balanced. So if you're being bold, how do you balance too? As a founder of a fast growing company and all the things we do with manufacturing and investors, blah, 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 and community. Some days I do not feel very balanced. So is
Yeah.
balance real? I don't know. What's your definition of balance? I kind of have my own perspective on balance.
So for me, I had really bad health issues. I was probably a lot like you back in the day. I thought I had to hustle really hard in order to be considered serious in my career, in my
Hmm.
business.
Right.
I felt the pressure, societal pressures of just working around the clock. We were considered a startup back in the day. And I started having really serious health issues with high blood
Mhm.
pressure, cholesterol. I was having anxiety, panic attacks. And, I was building FemCity. I had my own PR agency. I had three kids in three different schools. And, I was unraveling. My body was saying, like, you have to make some changes. And matter of fact,
Yeah.
my physician told me, like, you need to stop. And I sat on six boards. I was raising funds for nonprofits here in Miami. So the balance aspect
Okay.
of it, yeah, it was a
Quintessential
lot.
overachiever, A plus super mom, woman, all the
Exactly. But
things.
you know
Yes.
what? I was feeding off people saying, Violet, how do you do it all? That was feeding me, which is very unhealthy. And I was also contributing to societal's pressures for other women to feel like they had to do the same. So it was a really unhealthy place. But looking at my life, looking to see and removing, saying no to the six boards I sat on, putting the kids into, schools that were made sense, where it was kind of more streamlined, having people help me out, other moms, creating carpool situations and finally finding the balance. So I feel like I understand balance now more than I did in my 40s. I'll be 54. But it definitely was a journey. It was reviewing my life, reflecting on what works, what doesn't work, what gives me anxiety, what gives me pressure, and then making sure that I'm able to manage that. So when I feel that anxiety or pressure, I stop and go, okay, what's happening? Where am I losing ground? And then refocusing, having a more active approach to that versus letting it just kind of push it down until it shows up in anxiety or in panic, or end up getting the flu or getting sick. So for me, I do believe it's possible. However, I feel like there's a lot of things that we have to say no to and prioritize
Right.
ourselves. And
Right.
that's the thing that people don't want to talk about, but saying no is a very beautiful thing. Now I say no all the time and it makes me happy.
It's a direct path to balance. No, right? Because
No.
every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to ourselves or no to
Right.
something else. I'm with you. And you know what I don't think we talk about enough is, especially in our 40s, those are the building years. And also, we're building our confidence. We might be building our family, building a business, building a career, but we're building our confidence. So when somebody asks us to do something, it feels good, right? It feels great to be asked to be on boards. And I raised three kids too, my husband, and I think I only sat on three boards, not six. So you win
Yeah.
on
I
that
mean, it's
one,
still a
right?
lot. It's a lot. It's
But you know,
crazy.
it's the same thing because when you're working really hard, then you really feel like you're doing something and people
Yeah.
ask you to do more because you're good. And but that just piles on. And at some point, we don't need to build our confidence by overdoing, but it's so appropriate for our 40s. That's the thing, you know. It's
Yeah.
not bad. It is common. It's that season. But once we get in our 50s, you're like, no, not so
Yeah.
much. And wait till I turn 60 this year. It's pretty much all no.
You're like,
My
no
husband's
to
like,
everything before they even
geez,
ask.
do you have to be so harsh? I'm like, yes, no. There's no padding around the no. I don't need to explain, no splaining, nothing. It's just a clear no. That's it.
I love that. Years ago, we did an exercise at FemCity where just saying no and then just lingering by that and not adding anything else was really difficult. But we just practiced saying no and then just holding that awkward space. Yeah, that's it. It's so weird, but it's so
But
good.
it's a complete
Um,
sentence, right?
Yeah,
No
exactly,
padding.
exactly. Yeah, I was also I was addicted to people telling me like, wow, I mean, it was really sick. And also I was addicted to the adrenaline that came with like, oh, I was able to pick up all three kids in all three different sides of Miami and make it to that board meeting and raise, the $20,000, $30,000. And, like I was really addicted to that chaos. And it was really hard to break away from that because then you're like, well, now what? Like, what's my identity? Like
Yeah.
who now
Well,
I'm this calm person. It was like it
identity
was
is
a big
huge,
thing.
but there is a chemical response that was happening with all that, right? All that
Yeah.
dopamine is happening, so it feels good to do all that until it's too much, and then
Yeah.
the cortisol, then all the other things. But it's not sickness. Don't hate on yourself. It's just part of it, and it's how we
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
So it's very typical. It's very,
Yeah,
very typical. But I love that you touched on the hard part about it is that we're teaching other women, or we're setting the bar so
yeah,
high for other women, and then that's where we start to judge and compare, and social media makes everything 1,000 times worse, and we just
yeah.
don't need to do that, right? We can just let
No.
that go. So
And also, we're teaching people like now living a or more balanced life. We're also giving permission to other women to reflect on their life and remove the things that don't fill their cup, that
that's
don't
right.
feel good anymore. So
Right.
allowing us to shine like this makes it so other women go, you know what? I don't want to be on that board, or I don't want to be, going to that book club, or I don't want to be working with this client or whatever it is. Like I think that it's as we show up and we live authentically, it gives women permission to also do the same in whatever area that they want to go ahead and kind of fine tune a little bit. So there is power in showing up and just saying, no, I'm not going to do that. And then people go,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know you could say no, but you know what? That looks pretty good. I'm going to start
Right.
saying it too.
Or be ready for a little bit of pushback, because when
Right.
we say no and we're really stepping into being true to ourselves, it can be confronting for other people who are on a different path or in a different stage of their journey. And
Yeah.
so be prepared for that. Like, what
Yeah.
do you mean? And but that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
I,
exactly, exactly. I always tell people like you can say no and say no, but thank you so much for thinking about me. You could offer them another resource. You know what I mean? You
yes.
can lead them into another, like, oh, I have
Right.
somebody else I think would be a great fit for you. So you can say no gracefully and still maintain that friendship. It doesn't always be like no, that's it, you're out of my life. You can do things in a certain way
Right.
that feels good for everyone. And at the end of the day,
Hmm.
yeah, it's an honor that people think about us, but it's also an honor for us to honor ourselves and then giving them the opportunity to find someone who's a better fit.
Absolutely. What she said. Perfect. I love it. I love it.
Exactly, exactly.
I love it. Hey, so if people want to hang out with you in person, you're having an event coming up in November.
Yes, that you
Tell
all
us
are a
about it.
part of. I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for your support. So we have a
Yes.
conference coming up. It's our very first global conference. It's here in Miami, and it's Wealth with Soul. I'm really excited because the day is going to be filled of having experts in the financial world, in the wellness world. We have a dermatologist. We have Dr. Gila. She's going to be there also, and it's just going to be a really beautiful, very soulful day. So we're talking about all the aspects of our lives and how to fine tune them and giving them a great direction on how we can create that greatness for 2026, ending the
Mm,
year on a high note.
I love it. Well, so go to your beautiful event and then hang around. You can go to Dr. Vonda's event. I think it's on the
Yes,
14th. So that's kind of a long wait, but who doesn't want to be in Miami for 2 weeks, right?
I
So,
know, exactly, exactly. And you can take the train. We have a train that goes to Orlando. I think that's how I did last November. Actually, yes, I went with one of my best friends. We took the train from here to Orlando, and then the hotel was like a 5-minute Uber drive. So
yeah,
close. And you don't need a car when you get to her event. Everything is right
no,
there.
it's all right there. I didn't think about that. Okay. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Really good. So, just quickly, you're modeling. Have you always been modeling, or since you become a silver haired person?
So, yeah, well, the silver hair has actually, I think, made a dent in my revenue for modeling, but
A dent.
a dent. I
Not
think
that, not a positive.
not yet, not yet. I'm holding on. I'm holding on. I started doing my silver hair journey 2 years ago. I started doing modeling and acting about 4 years ago,
In your 50s.
and in my 50s. In my
Love it.
50s, yeah. A good friend of mine is an agent, and she had been pushing me for years and years and years. And then my husband and I auditioned for Royal Caribbean. We were like, that'll be fun. Let's do that. And then we got that, and that was so much fun that we just started doing more of it. And so he doesn't do anything. I mean, he's got his own firm that he's working on, his own business, but I do enjoy it. I have a creative side to it, and I love feeling about what the business is looking for, what the brand is trying to capture, and trying to get into that space. And so for me, it's really been very fun to do creatively. I do like the creative side of FemCity as well, but this has been something completely different. And yeah, the silver hair has made a little bit of a dent. They're not really ready for silver hair all the time. So I've missed a couple of opportunities. I did a video on that on Instagram recently that talked about, I thought about going back to brown because I was losing opportunity. I was getting to the last round and then they were going with other women that didn't have silver hair. But I'm
Interesting.
holding on because I feel like the change is coming. I feel like the more and more of us with silver hair are going to make an impact. In a matter of fact, sometimes when you do castings, they have you read through like what they're looking for, the characters, and they kind of have like an image of what they're looking for. And often all the men have silver hair, but the women that they're looking for have brown hair. So I feel like that is changing, but we're not there yet. But
I
women
love
like
it.
you and like me that show up fabulous with silver hair, that's when all of a sudden it starts making a difference in the way that we show up in commercials.
Well, no judgment, whatever you decide to do, either
Yeah.
way, but you're
Yep.
representing beautifully on the Silver Sisterhood. And I'm actually speaking at an event called the Silver Sisterhood Retreat in Denver
Really?
in 2 weeks. Yes. Robin Sauls has a magazine, so you'll have to hunt that down. And then also,
Yes.
if you haven't met Stephanie, the founder of Celebrate the Gray, she has a silver haired modeling agency.
Wow. Well,
So people
yeah,
know to go to her for gorgeous silver haired women. So,
that's
and Natasha
great.
says, she loves your silver hair. And
I
Natasha's,
love my silver hair. I mean,
me
this
too.
streak right here, I'm like in love with this like streak here. I mean, again, I can't wait to have I used to have long hair, and then I did the pixie cut. I did like half and half, and then I did the pixie cut, and so it's growing out. But I just love how I don't know anyone that has silver hair that I'm like, "Oh, I don't like how it looks." Everyone I see, I think it looks fabulous.
Yeah. If you decide to own it, just own it. So
Yeah.
I vote for keeping your silver sister thing happening here. So, but
Oh, I'm
do
not going
you?
back. I'm not, you know what? I'm not going back because I was going every 2 weeks. Shout out to Madison Reed. I loved going to Madison Reed. I was there all the time, every 2 weeks. I had the membership, loved
Yeah.
all the women there. And I'd get home, I'd sneeze, and then gray hair, like silver hair would pop out. I'm like, I can't keep going every 2 weeks, every one. It was like every couple of days I'd have to go there. So I'm good. I'm happy with it. I think it's I don't know. I feel really good with it. I know some of my friends are not ready for it. You got to be ready for it. You will know when it's your time.
Right.
Sometimes it's never going to be your time. Sometimes,
Right.
like my stepmother's 86 years old and she's still dyeing her hair.
She's like, no.
Like it looks great on her.
Right. Do you? That's what I say.
Do you?
Do
Do
you?
you?
But whatever you do, do it all the way. Just own
Yeah.
yourself. I
And
love
have
it.
fun. Have
Yeah.
fun. Do it pink. Do it purple, blue, whatever.
Purple. I
Purple.
turned into a lavender lady. Like, when did that happen? Okay, I think it's because of the brand.
Oh
That's
my
really
gosh.
what happened.
That's so funny you say that. Today I had a call with my marketing agency and we were talking about lavender. Like we just had this whole entire thing. That's so I love lavender.
I think it's when my hair and I fully embraced my silver. And we did our rebrand, and then our double chocolate brownie, which is our best seller,
Oh,
is
I
that
love that. It's
purple
my favorite one.
lavender. It's just like, okay. I used to
It's
be
my
all
favorite.
orange, and now I'm all lavender.
I
Identity
love that.
switch. Whoop whoop. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Violet, any tips that you might have in your pocket for helping women in midlife and menopause just navigate from a place of boldness and balance at the same time?
Yeah, I think first of all, read all the books. Like all these books written by amazing women that know all the things, read all of them. You can never have too much education. It's constantly changing. There's more information coming out. So that's my first tip is to definitely dive in one book at a time. If you don't know where to start, ask your girlfriends, listen to women like you who know. So that's the first
I've
one
got a whole bookcase full of all of them. So,
from your book club.
yes, I'm a
Um,
huge reader.
me too. I love reading. The second thing is I definitely find your community. Find your community. It could just be one girlfriend. It doesn't have to be 30, 50, 100. Just finding one or two women really makes a huge difference in your life and use each other for information, for support. You know, be open with each other because information sometimes that is shared between besties or really good friends is the most valuable information, resources, referrals, tips, guidance. I mean, you have an army of women that are there to help you. I have a friend of mine today who just sent me a great article about longevity and how the information is changing for women. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is just surround yourself with information that's uplifting and positive when it comes to midlife. You don't surround yourself with women that are poo-pooing on midlife and the transition. Surround yourself with women that are really happy and positive about the change. I mean, I'm really excited. This is the first time in my life that I'm able to work on my career for myself. I raised the three kids, I've done all those things. And now this is the first time that I can think about myself. And
Right.
that's a really beautiful place. I feel like this
It
is a
is.
whole new world opening for me. So hanging out with that vibe is definitely going to add to that support that you need.
I love that. We are the five people we spend the most time with. So
Yeah.
choose wisely for
Yes,
sure.
exactly.
I love
Exactly.
it. Okay, so again, where can women find more of Violet and FemCity and the conference, all the good stuff?
So you can follow me over at Violette de Ayala over on Instagram. And you can also head over to femcity.com to learn more about the conference. We'd love to have you there. It's going to be a beautiful day, and I'm really excited about it. All the speakers, the panelists, everyone's just so wonderful. I'm excited to share with everyone.
The lineup is spectacular, and I know anything that you do is going to have all the magic
Thank you,
dust
Joy.
on it.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
so
Oh, I always love
cute.
seeing your face and your spirit and your soul. You're just just such a wonderful human. I'm just so grateful that our paths crossed. Thank you. Thank you
Same.
for everything
I
you do for women.
Oh, and back at you, sis. I feel like we're, sisters from another mother in a different lifetime.
Yeah, I
So,
love that.
to
Oh,
be
thank you.
continued, let's keep lifting women up. Let's keep helping women feel bold and balanced, not overdone,
Yeah,
doing things by choice and things that
yeah,
inspire us and supporting each other. That's where all the
yeah,
goodness is.
exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. See you soon. I hope IRL. All right,
Yes.
everybody.
Bye.
MenoLounge. See you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.